Thank you, Ben, for the introduction, and welcome everyone. What I'd like to do today is show you some new free software that's becoming available to you as of today, which will hopefully help you deliver your next state-of-the-art end-to-end NLP project faster and better. So NLP is really growing into a foundational enterprise technology, which is a very, very new thing. So of course, kind of big data happened, AI is happening, and NLP is becoming a big part of that. So one thing that you just heard from the recent NLP industry survey is that NLP budgets, meaning the actual money the companies are spending on the technology, keeps growing. It had last year, it is considerably growing this year as well. And this is new. I mean, if you did the survey 6-7 years ago, those growth numbers would be near zero. But now we are seeing a very fast and consistent adoption, really with AI and cyber being almost the only two growth areas in budgets and investments. Another interesting thing that happened was in the previous survey we did 6 months ago, that was focused on healthcare AI. And there, what Gage and Flo asked was, what are the core technologies that you use? And the answers were data integration, NLP, business intelligence, and data warehousing, which I found really surprising because data integration, business intelligence, and data warehousing were all there for the past 3 decades and probably will be there for the next 3 decades. And NLP is really the only new entrant to this set of technologies and people that more than half of technical leaders were using, really making it kind of a mainstream thing at this point. So our question really at John Snow Labs is how do we best help the community, the open source community, the industry as a whole succeed and make the most out of the technology of the opportunity that's there. And we're going to continue doing more of what has worked for the community before. We're going to give you more free stuff, and we're going to support it. We're going to give you software that that's proven, that works, that's scalable, that's secure, really to make it as easy as possible for you to get your next project started, going, deployed, operated, and scaled. And I want to talk today about 3 types of software that we're providing. One thing that I'm thrilled to announce is that Johnson Lab's Annotation Lab, which is our data labeling tool, is now free software. By free, we mean it's not limited by number of users, number of documents, number of projects. There's no limitation whatsoever. It also means that the software runs on your infrastructure. It does not call home. You do not share anything with us or any third party, because if you need to do that really is not free. We also know that the reason we did this is because there are quite a few annotation tools in the market. Some of them open source, but then we see that the premium offerings, the paid offering, really hide a lot of the functionality that people need, like active learning, like project management, team management, strong security, rule-based access, versioning, audit, and strong analytics. So what we did basically, we took the software that we've been using, we've been building it for a while, we've been using it in production with customers for over 2 years now, and we've decided to just make it free for the community, for commercial use as well as personal use, really just to solve a gap that we see in the market. And for me personally, I've just talked to too many teams who decided to build their own tool and kind of rebuild that specific wheel. So you see the tool is right now in its 23rd version and is fairly widely deployed in production. And here's some of the functionality. The core functionality is just making sure, and this is really for every annotation tool, is making sure that as you do labeling, it's a very high productivity environment. Keyboard shortcuts are very, very big. Just making sure that the screen itself is streamlined, one hand on the mouse, one hand on keyboard. Make sure you can label everything, entities, relationships, metadata or value mapping, sequence-to-sequence mapping, classification projects. It's all there. One-click marking, one-click editing. We also make it easy for you to start from model predictions, so you can run a model and then basically only correct what the model does with pre-annotation, which is shown to have about a 4x speed up on overall project timelines. Another big thing is teamwork. So other than just importing documents and annotating them, you can organize work in projects. You can assign people to projects, and then there are a lot of features to enable a team of annotators to work together. Because some of the challenges are always okay, what happens when you actually need to scale this to a team. So as you can see, there is task management. We manage the full audit trail of the tasks, state diagram, so incomplete, in progress, done, reviewed, and then submitted and completed. You can change who is assigned to label an item, who is assigned to review it. If you do have a review workflow, you can create and edit tags. You can automatically find and filter out duplicate documents in your training data. You can add comments so that team members can communicate with one another. And of course, all of this is versioned and audited. In terms of the kinds of projects that are supported, here we'll definitely focus on NLP and text. But this tool can also label images, video, audio, HTML pages, right? So if you need to do video classification, if you need to do speaker diarization for audio, right? If you need to do just bounding boxes on images, this tool enables you to do that as well. And the other thing you can see, when you define projects, you can assign specific users to specific roles and use Keycloak under the hood. So we have fairly strong capabilities in terms of everything from your password policies to even two-factor authentication and more advanced features. So you can really work within a secure enterprise-grade environment. One big productivity booster is not starting from an empty document that you need to label, but starting from a pre-trained models. And one thing you can do with tasks that you upload is pre-annotate them. When you pre-annotate, you can decide which tasks actually need to do it. It's your choice. You can choose which models and embeddings to use for pre-annotating documents. You can use specific labels, so you can come and say, okay, I want dates and people and geopolitical entities. I don't want numbers, so don't give me cardinal numbers or general dates. And all of this runs. You can run it locally, but you also can run on Kubernetes. And either way, the pre-annotation work is going to run in the backend, so it's going to run in a separate container. Just in terms of isolation, and also not interfere with interactive work of other people who are using the tool. Once you've annotated things, either with the help of pre-annotation or just from scratch, you'd want to be able to train model. And this tool enables you to train models right within the tool. It also enables you to apply active learning, meaning that you annotate some documents, you train a model, and then you use the new version of the model to pre-annotate the next documents, so that really the human annotators just see the model improving as they work. And this really enables you to do end-to-end projects without any data scientist being involved, which is really the goal. We want to get to a point where a lawyer, a doctor, a financial analyst can start and say, okay, I need to do an information extraction project or translation project, summarization, question answering, and just do it completely within the tool without needing a data scientist anywhere inside. When you do train, you can just click the button to train right now. This launches a separate container and runs asynchronously in the backend. We do have now the ability, if you click to see the log, to look at the real-time training log. So you can see real-time how training is going. You can also just hit active learning and just fully automate the process so that when enough completions are there, the system will just automatically retrain, and then it can even redeploy the model and use it going forward. If you click the little button for advanced options, you can see that you have more options here, which is really something that people have asked us and we deployed. So you can choose which embeddings you want to use for training your model, if you want to play with different embeddings. You can edit hyperparameters. So if you don't, we'll try to auto-tune, right, and automatically select the best graph and the best hyperparameters, but you can also do it yourself. And you can also filter which completions should be used for training. So you can say, for example, only the completions that have been through review and have not been sent back for corrections should be used, which gives you more flexibility in customizing the workflow among your team, right, of what you consider done and ready to go. Another question is, all those models in those combo boxes, all the models you train, where do they come from? Where do they go? And to enable this, basically the annotation tools comes with a local copy of the Models Hub. So in the Spark NLP Models Hub, we have several thousand models. But what you do is you download some of them locally. And those are the models that are available for pre-training. This is very important if you're working within an air-gap environment, right? So for example, if you're annotating sensitive medical documents and you're doing this basically offline with no internet connection, you install the tool, you download the models that you care about, and then you disconnect it from the internet. So this tool runs on your infrastructure, does not require an internet connection, and is designed and often used in high compliance environments. As you can see, you have the online model hub here, and then you see the available models and available embeddings that are downloaded locally, and you can filter, you can search, you can upload your own models if your data scientist use Spark NLP to do their own specific thing. And there are basically three sources of models here. There are models, you can see it at the bottom of the slide, models that were downloaded from the online models hub, models that you trained here with model training or active learning, or models that someone uploaded locally into the local environment, and you can use all of them. Another really important thing, especially when you have large-scale projects or large teams, is having analytics, and the Annotation Lab has more than 20 types of reports and graphs that are automatically calculated and kept up to date for you per project. And essentially, they have those three main functions. The first one is project tracking. So I have 10,000 documents to annotate. At the current rate, when will we be done, right? So basically, is my project on track? How am I doing? The second one is productivity. I have 7 people on the team. Who is more productive? Who is less productive? Who needs help? Right? How many am I doing per day on these kind of documents? The third type of questions that you will ask yourself as a project manager is, how is the data set doing? Is there any bias? So if, for example, you start to annotate and you extract things like, say, cancer staging, and you find midway that, only 5% of the people are in stage 1, for example, you know that your data set may be unbalanced, and that's something you want to fix before you finish the annotation project by sampling again. Right? If you find that or you have actually 80% women and you do not intend that to happen, you can fix it at this point. So you can see and drill down to the level of a specific classification or specific labels, whether you have an issue in the data set. The other super important task of managing an annotation team is ensuring that you have very high Inter-Annotator Agreement. And if you look at and productivity, one thing is you want to count how many do I do per hour, but the other important question is how well do I do it, and also how often do people on the team agree. So first of all, there's a set of graph, and you can look at Inter-Annotator Agreement between 2 people or between a person and a trained model. And the more orange you see, the more okay, it looks like we have a problem. But then when the 2 people actually need to talk and look at the specific examples they disagree on and decide what they're going to do, you also have the drill down to specific tables where you can look at specific values and see where the disagreement is. And then you can compare versions and decide which version you're going to go with going forward. Also within the tool, we have shared team annotation guidelines that people can access from the annotation screen. You can update those as well. So those are, this is at a very, very short glance, the Annotation Lab. As I said, it's available for free. There's a one-line installation that's right here on the screen. You really don't have to copy it because if you go to the nlp.johnsonlab.com and the documentation, it's right there. If you don't find it, just come and ask us. There's also community support. So on the Spark NLP Slack channel, there's an Annotation Lab channel, and you're welcome to come and ask us questions. And our team is there every day, really to help you succeed, make the most of this, and really use best practice in terms of everything required to get a large-scale labeling project done, and really deliver the end-to-end project, right? From deciding what the model needs to be, to actually training models, iterating and improving the model over time, and then delivering a completed project. The second thing that I'm thrilled to announce is now available to you and free as well, is Johnson Lab's NLP Server. The NLP Server came about because Spark NLP is a library available for Python, Java, and Scala. But we had 2 kinds of common questions. One is, look, can I just get a REST API that I can call and use pre-trained model for? And this is intended to do exactly that. You deploy your server, and then it gives you a REST API, and you can use any of the thousands of models that are there without being a data scientist, really without knowing Python, right, to just make use of the state-of-the-art models that are available. The second point of ask was really from enterprise customers that said, look, we work within an enterprise-grade, air-gap, scalable, robust environment, and really we train Spark NLP models, right, which is something that many companies do. And for inference or for deployment, we would like to have a server that basically packages a model or a set of model as a REST API. So that is what the NLP server is. It's basically one Docker container that gives you a user interface as well as a REST API to serve in a secure, robust, and very simple way serve Spark NLP models. It is free, so also unlimited everything. It's a share nothing model, so it truly is free. It's a no coding environment. Right now, there are more than 3,000 models that are available out of the box. Compared to the Annotation Lab, this is an early stage project, so it's a few months old. It is being used in some production settings, but I would say, if you're looking for a project that has already been in production for a full year by Fortune 500, then wait a year. However, if you're starting to build something now, please talk to us or start using this because really we are very quickly evolving and improving this. So the user interface here is super simple. There are 3 steps. You can search the name of the spell, which is kind of the pre-trained model or pipeline that you want to activate here. You can search by name or by description. So if you just want to say, spell checking, sentiment analysis, toxic content, translate to, Amharic, you can just try that, and it will find the right spell for you. You either type the text that you want to analyze, or if you want a bigger sample, you can upload the CSV, and you hit the preview button. Once you hit the preview button, you're going to see these results. And in order to, and in this case, this is name entity recognition in English, so you can see the recognized entities, you can see embeddings, confidence levels, and really everything that you'd expect Spark NLP to produce. Behind the scenes, this does quite a lot of work for you. It would download models locally to a local storage. So if you use, to run such a pipeline, you probably use certain transformers, embeddings, some pre-trained models, a pipeline that connects them. Sometimes there are other resources, rules, dictionaries, whatever. All of them would be downloaded locally. Then from local storage, it would be loaded and cached in memory, and then model inference runs. So all of that kind of storage management and orchestration is done for you. If you are working within an air-gap environment, of course, only the local models would be available, right? So basically, you pre-download them and then disconnect from the internet, and it's all there. Once, if you like the preview, you can say, okay, run it on my entire data set, and then, hit the download button, right? So you can get your results, and then you get it as a CSV, and you can load it into your SQL database, right? Into your data frame, wherever you need it. Another interesting feature is the ability to group. So for example, in the previous slide, we grouped the entities by entity, right? So for each entity it was recognized. But you can also say, look, like you see here, I really want it grouped by sentence. Okay, I just want one row for each sentence, and then just give me all the entities from that sentence within that row. This is useful if, for example, you say, I'm just doing spell checking, so I just want the original sentence, the corrected and the spell corrected one. You can also ask for things at the document level, right? So you can say, okay, just translate the whole document, right? Or give me the sentiment for the whole thing. And we do it for you, and then you get a CSV. Everything I showed you in the UI is available as a REST API, which is also fairly simple. You need to give the name of the spell that you want to run, the actual text to analyze, and the level of grouping that you're interested in, and you get a result as an API with all of the kind of caching, storage, optimization done for you as a single Docker container. And right now, what you can do is this is ready. It's available either on Docker or on the AWS Marketplace for you. Here are some of the things that we're still working on. I would expect most of them to be done by the end of this year, so within the next 3 months. So first of all, right now, this does inference. It's also going to do model training and auto-tuning. This is already available behind the scene. We need to expose it in the UI and the API. It will enable you to load your own custom trained models, right? So if you train your own Spark NLP model and you say, okay, look, now I just want a server to be able to do inference, just copy the file to a folder that's available to the server, and you'll be able to run inference this way. Will run in air gap enterprise environments, and really what I'm looking for is to actually have it running in some of those environments, which usually means that we add hooks into monitoring, into logging, we go through more severe vulnerability scanning, and so on. One obvious integration that people have already asked us for is to make sure that, if I train the model in the Annotation Lab, can I just do a one-click thing to actually publish it to an NLP server, which then really enables you to do a complete project up to and including production serving without a data scientist or a software engineer in the picture, which is the end goal here. And the last thing we enable is also to run healthcare NLP and Spark OCR models. So as I'm sure you know, healthcare NLP and Spark OCR are two commercial products that Johnson Labs has, and those require license keys. So the goal is to come and say, look, if you want to use the NLP server to serve healthcare NLP model or Spark OCR model, then you need to load the license key, right? And then that's it, right? It will just work, and you'll be able to serve those models. If you want to get started with the NLP server, here's the one-liner installation. So basically, you do a Docker run, you pull the container, and you run it locally. If you want it, it's also available on AWS Marketplace, so with the recommended EC2 instance, right? So you can launch the instance together with the server already running. Here's the link to documentation. If you go to our main nlp.johnsonlabs.com page, you'll find it. And this will also have community support. So, as you start using the server, if you have any questions, any suggestions, please reach out to us. As we've done with other things, we are thrilled and excited to help you succeed and help as many people as possible really make the most of this free offering. So we talked about the Annotation Lab, which is a beautiful new thing. We talked about the NLP server, which is another new thing we are giving away for free. Now let's talk about the main dish, which is the Spark NLP library, and the couple of cool things to celebrate. One thing is Spark NLP is this week really celebrating 4 years in existence, and 4 years where we have released software every 2 weeks. And this really is our one main promise to you and to the open source community. Spark NLP does not just deliver state-of-the-art NLP. We promise that we will keep you the state-of-the-art. Which means that we keep reading the new papers, and we keep looking at the new hardware platforms and new optimizations that come about. And our job is to give you the production-grade, scalable, trainable version of state-of-the-art NLP, which means that really we have to keep running, and we have to keep releasing new things and expanding the offering, and make sure that we keep re-implementing a lot of the models and a lot of the algorithms. Because in NLP, what was state-of-the-art 6 months ago, 12 months ago is no longer the most accurate, and sometimes by far. So we're happy to have kept that promise for 4 years, and we intend to keep it for many years going forward. We would like to thank the community for your support, and here are some of the numbers to show the adoption and votes of confidence in Johnson Labs and the Spark NLP library. In January 2020, we were super excited. It was the first month where we crossed 10,000 downloads a week, and we were just under 10,000 for the entire month on average overall. And then at this summit last year, I shared this number. In the summer of 2020, we crossed 50,000 downloads per week. So Spark NLP was enjoying very, very fast growth in adoption of the library, and that was a year ago. And today, I'm very happy to share with you that a year down the road, we are seeing basically the same level of growth. So we've had a 5x growth in half a year, then we had another 5x growth in the past 6 months. And Spark NLP now has remained for over 3 years now the most widely used NLP library in the enterprise. But more than that, you can see that the community has significantly grown, and we see it, of course, both in production and enterprise deployments, but also in open source, in academic papers, right, and kind of other and just grow through the community. So please, thank you. We are humbled and thankful for the support. This definitely motivates us to continue further, and you have a commitment that we will keep giving you state-of-the-art NLP and do our best to make sure it works for you in every environment. Speaking of new things that you get for free, here are some of the highlights of the releases from the last couple of months, including Spark NLP 3.3 that was just released last week. So in terms of buckets of functionality, the first thing we focus on is accuracy, and we want to make sure that Spark NLP will always provide you the most accurate models that are available in a production quality setting. So we retrained a whole set of new name entity recognition models, both for English as well as for 40 other languages. Those are NER models that are only available within Spark NLP. We've trained them, we've optimized them, they come with the library, their scale, and they've been recently trained, so should be up to date with current terms that people use. We've also delivered a new state-of-the-art token classification model, also a set of models based on a number of different transformers, which would depend on your use case, which one you pick, but also new models only on Spark NLP that have been trained specifically for this purpose. And we've done a lot of work for multilingual name entity recognition and also multilingual sentence embeddings. And those are all available within the library as one-liners or as parts of a custom pipeline that you build within any format that you use it, right? So from the NLP server, from Python, from Java, wherever you need it. In terms of new functionality, a few things worth mentioning. The new graph extractor is, I think, a pretty big deal because it makes it very easy to export basically nodes and edges of entities, dependencies that you extracted from free text documents in order to build a knowledge graph. And we've published one blog post on how you put this into Neo4j and then are able to run all kinds of interesting graph queries on things coming from documents. But you'll also see this week some examples of larger scale enterprise deployments to build a biomedical knowledge graph using this functionality. We've added new functionality for multilingual date matching. So if you're dealing with European languages, there are different ways to match dates. And now Spark NLP makes it very, very easy to extract and normalize them. We've improved how Spark NLP does unsupervised keyword extraction. We've added real-time training metrics, which even work if you're training on a cluster, you can still see real-time metrics on one single console. And other than that, very significant speed-ups and testing and optimization. And this is still tested on every version on all the major cloud platforms and major analytics platforms. In terms of ease of use, the big news is making it super easy to import models from both TensorFlow Hub and Hugging Face into Spark NLP. And there's a fairly wide range of models that you can import today and run. This text makes these models available for the Java and Scala ecosystem for the first time. And really, Spark NLP is still of today the only way those fairly large communities can access state-of-the-art NLP. So if you need those models on a cluster, or if you need them outside the Python ecosystem, that's one option for you. If you are within Python, we've had several new versions over the summer of the Python NLU library, which enables you to do basically everything the Spark NLP does, but with one line of code, model training, inference, and within NLU now there's 10 interesting new dimensionality reduction algorithms that enable you to visualize word embeddings in 2D and in 3D. So if you're interested really to debug your embeddings, that's one very, very simple way to do that. Everything with one-liners, that's the whole thing about the NLP library. So it's really very simple to use. And we've also done a lot of work on documentation, including tips and the best ways to use certain things. Other than that, you now are also able to serve your Spark NLP models for free. So if you've trained your own custom model and you want to share it with your team or share it with the community, then you can just go to the Model Hub, log in with GitHub, upload your model, give keywords and description, and then that's it. It gets uploaded. We do run a series of tests. We don't want all models. We want models that that work, that are validated. So a bit more curated, so that people know what they actually need to use and what they need to choose. But once your model loads, once it is tested, it's available to the community, and anyone on your team or elsewhere can use it, reuse it with one line of code. So that's now live and available and in use. And the other thing we invest a lot on, and actually we have a whole team working on, is just making it easy to learn and understand what's available. And right now there are more than 300 live demos, either Streamlit apps or Python notebooks that you can just run and use and try. If you go to the live demos page, for each demo, and you can see some examples here on the screen, there's a Streamlit app, and there's also a Colab notebook, right? So for all the open source examples, you can just click, go into Colab, and just run it right there. So there's no need to install anything. It just runs in your browser, and you can try to customize the pipeline, change the text, and see how well it works, and if it's a good fit for your use case. And really, all that we ask is that you put all of this to good use. It's been humbling and highly motivating to see all the really amazing things that the community and industry has been building with natural language processing. It's becoming a mainstream technology. There are really more use cases every day, but we are still very early on. There's much more that we still need to build, much more that we can do and improve, which will happen. And I hope you enjoy today's summit, and continue with us on this journey. So thank you, and enjoy the conference.